Welcome to Freeform Radio on the Freeform Network. You can follow us on Facebook at Freeform Network, on X at FFR Podcast. Remember to send your questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Hit us up there. We like reading stuff from flat earthers to vegetarians to everybody in between. So hit us up there. Again, it's Freeform Radio. We got Danny with us today.
Yes, sir, man. Just got home from church, man. It was kind of a mad rush because they were selling hot dogs after church, man. I had to get one really quick, but I'm here and we're ready to go.
Awesome. Did you buy one?
I did buy one. It was pretty good. It was like a ballpark Frank kind of thing, so it was pretty good.
Awesome. And we got Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us again for another one.
And we got All Good Andy, and we're glad you guys are able to join us. It's the time of this recording is Super Bowl weekend, so everybody's ready to gorge on wings and tenders and pizzas and nachos. So we're trying to get this Super Bowl party going. And
heck, Andy, before we start, who's your lock of the week, man? Who's taking this so we could either laugh at you or say, damn, Andy was a genius?
My shoe-in of the week is, I think, Kansas City with their MVP. The referees got this. I maybe if Philadelphia slows down the game, maybe they win. But I think it's written that Kansas City wins. I think the NFL really wants that three-peat.
I kind of think the opposite. I think Kansas City's, the refs got them here. So now they're at the big game. There's a lot of excitement. But I think Philly takes their first Super Bowl in a while, and they do not allow Kansas City to get a three-peat.
You have a pick, Noel?
I'm going to say the Eagles.
Oh, man, underdogs here.
Yeah, got to go
for it. Before we go into what's going on with the refs, the help, everybody thinks the NFL is the refs are helping Kansas City.
Oh, they are.
What was funny is the NFL sent out a release saying that that's inaccurate, and they have all these talking heads saying how that conspiracy theory, that's what they're saying is ludicrous and like it's not real. So now I'm really thinking like, damn, if they say shit and they got people like Tom Brady and all these other people saying, the keynote is say it's fake, now it really leads me to believe like, yeah, they're really getting help. So let us know what you guys think at ffnquestions@gmail.com, or maybe one day we'll have Roger Goodell and ask him personally. But let's get this rolling. Noel said he had a long night. He's been partying, to be young again. But on his keynotes, he did say he had hired a handyman named Daniel. Maybe it's the Daniel from the podcast to assemble his elliptical. So what's going on? You bought an elliptical. My question is awesome, but why did not a treadmill?
So I want to say about like 5 years ago or more, we had an elliptical that was gifted to us, and I loved it, and everything was good with it. And then eventually, things break down, and it's time to replace it. But my parents ended up buying a treadmill, so we do have a treadmill, but I don't like them, man. I really don't. I've tried to use it. We've had it for many years, and I've used it when I had to, right? But I love the elliptical. It's much easier on the knees. Not that I have any knee problems, but I don't want to have them. They do run in the family. So I'm like, let me get an elliptical. When I was in the best shape of my life is when I had an elliptical to use, right? It wasn't just because of that. It was multiple things. But ellipticals to me, man, it's super easy. And when you put on good music or some video that distracts you, you can go on there for hours and you'll be good. And you'll just be drenched in sweat, burning calories, and it's a good time. But I bought one. It was on sale. I think it was like 50% off for the new year or something like that. It was like just a special that came up, and I wanted to take advantage of it before it went out. So I knew I needed to get somebody to help me with it, though. I'm not like good with assembling stuff. I could do like bookcases, stuff like that, small shelves, things like that. But when it comes to like assembling machinery, equipment, and computers, stuff like that, I need assistance. And so yeah, Daniel did more than assist, man. He did it pretty much. Him and the junior did it themselves. I just kind of handed them stuff and just like try to look helpful, but it was more me watching and them doing it. And
he had his intern with him, huh?
there you go. Yeah, man. His apprentice, bro. He's
apprentice.
he's gonna be
Some
getting
junior stuff.
mentorship here. Right. But yeah, so it was awesome. They assembled it and it works great, man. I've already used it a few times. I'm gonna use it more and more going forward, but it's a lot of stuff's been going on and it's just been difficult to be able to use it as much as I want. But it's been great and it definitely, man, I'm burning calories, dude. I'm sweating and it feels sturdy. It feels like quality made. So the price that I paid was like under 400. It
That's
was
not
in
bad.
3 to 4. But normally it'd be about 800, right? So that's why the half off, like it really went a long way. And it's a decent brand. So I was like, okay, I get that like Platinum Fitness feel without the Platinum Fitness, you know, the holdbacks, like you have to drive there, you have to pay monthly, all that stuff, right? Like this is mine to keep forever, and it works good. So thank you, Daniel and Junior, for helping with that. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. To me, I kind of dig ellipticals better, or at least if you're trying to get a good drenching workout, and ellipticals definitely, I think, the way to go. Treadmills are good for like warming up, like getting your body going, but ellipticals to me, that's like a full workout just by itself. It sounds like you don't really care for ellipticals too much, Andy, or you prefer treadmill?
No, I'm the opposite. When I was at my weight loss journey, I guess what helped me out a lot was cardio, and that was the treadmill. And I hit that hard. I tried the elliptical. I tried the bicycles. For me personally, I felt like it wasn't as intense as the running. Because at my peak, I was running like 7 to 8 miles 6 days a week. And I tried to switch it up when I hit the wall, that everybody talks about. I tried the elliptical, tried bicycles. The only thing that really got me going was running outside in the summer. That helped me get over that hump, and I liked it a lot. But the treadmill, for me personally, it's always what's given me the most success when I've tried to lose weight and like you eat right. And the elliptical, it's a nice change up, but yeah, it is. Like you said, easier on the knees. I just felt I didn't get the sweat or that feeling like I did when I was running on the treadmill.
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone has their own, preferences and stuff. And don't get me wrong, man. Like I sweat a lot with the treadmill too, and it was good. It's just not my preferred way of working out. I feel it's just, yeah, I don't know.
No,
It's just
I
preference.
understand. Everybody likes it different. Like I've someone tried to push me the kayak thing or whatever, the rowing. You know
Oh
what I'm talking
yeah,
about? And they said it's better because you're using your upper body and all this. And I tried that. I felt that was a little bit too rough for me. I wasn't used to it because I was using muscles that I don't use as much. So that's why the treadmill always worked for me, and I've seen a lot of success come from it. So I guess that's why I like it so much, or I used it so much, I should say.
yeah. No, ultimately, whatever works for anybody, as long as we're active and we're doing stuff, and that's the whole point. Is like I wanted to get back into being active. I kind of took a break, man, and it's a bummer that like I gained some weight again, but it's just like motivation to get back to it, and so this will be a start of a new chapter with this elliptical, and hopefully getting to the weight loss journey that I want to get to.
For sure.
But yeah, moving on. I actually
Well,
played some.
let me ask Danny, did you get some compensation from this assembly or your intern?
No, actually, I was offered some Italian beefs on our next visit. So yeah, the next
on
visit.
the next visit, you had
Well,
to give him
yeah.
credit.
No, yeah, I had to take an IOU, but that was perfectly fine because that elliptical, although this doesn't have a lot of pieces, it did take a quick minute. And then visiting my parents, and my dad wanted to talk my ear off. It definitely is the kind of thing where we needed to just devote that visit for the elliptical. But yeah, the next time around, I have to take up that Italian beef.
Your dad wasn't down there telling you what to do?
He actually did come down for like a minute,
You
and
should
he
have
started,
recorded that. Yeah.
dude, he started telling Junior how to do something, and I just told Junior, just do what Abuelo says. It's fine. And so he's just there, and he's trying to do what my dad's saying. He's like, no, turn the wrench like this and do it like this. It's easier. And then he was kind of struggling, and my dad's like, here, let me show you. My dad started doing it,
Damn.
and then my dad was struggling too, and he's just like, yeah, just do it the way you were doing it. I'm just like, yes, I like that's bold.
Oh man, that was funny. Yeah.
That's what it's about.
But yeah, definitely we'll be getting those Italian beats for you next time you come out, man. So again, I do appreciate it. But yeah, it's great to have there, and just be able to use it whenever. But in the meantime, when I'm not working out, I'm playing some games, kind of getting through the backlog. And Last Guardian was a game that I just beat recently. And I know Daniel's played it. He's told me he's, I think, given a review on it before as well. But have you ever played it or heard of it, Andy?
I have not. That's a completely new one to me.
Have you ever heard of Ico or Shadow of the Colossus?
I remember Shadow of the Colossus on PS2, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I remember, that one. Yeah.
So yeah, this is pretty much it's not a trilogy, but they're all three games made by the same developer and Studio Japan, who's now defunct, but they're actually rebranded into like a different company, and now they're going to be making this game called Project Robot. But for Last Guardian, I just beat it recently, and it's a similar story in terms of like you're kind of isolated. You're in this like not dystopian, but it's like just empty, like ruins, kind of like it's like ruins. Like imagine like the Greek ruins or something, but like now you're in the mountains, and it's just like very foreign. Like it's very ancient, kind of almost like ancient aliens, like civilization, or like Mesopotamians or something like that. Like it's very ancient looking. You got these weird like statue things that try to attack you, and then you have this like huge like pet, kind of like Clifford the Red Dog, but this one's like a blue like bird. And so it's like this big, Clifford blue bird called Trico. He'll defend you, and you're play as a little kid who just happens to wake up in this ruins, and you're next to this humongous bird thing, and it wants to get out, and you want to get out, so you got to work together to try to find a way out of these ruins. And it's just massive, dude. Like if you really like put yourself into this world, yeah, I was like, because I have a fear of heights, kind of. So I was looking at it. I'm like, dude, if I was here, I'd be it. It'd be a wrap, dude. I don't even know what I would do. I'd be freaking out all day, because like everywhere you gotta go, you're jumping and leaping, and it's just everything is a risk. You might fall off a cliff or whatever, but the whole point of the game is to try to find a way to bond with the creature, and you give it food and stuff, and you give it commands to try to get to where you need to get to, like, and it'll help you out too. It'll kind of point like, oh, I think there's somewhere over here you got to go, and then so you start going in a direction. You're like, yeah, can you jump over there? And you don't say it like verbally. You kind of do these like commands, and it's like a different language too. It's like a tribal language. It's Asian, but I wouldn't, I guess Japanese, but it doesn't sound like Japanese to me. Anyway. It was a good game, dude. I do recommend it. It's a shorter one too. I think you'd probably beat it in about 10 hours or so. And definitely recommend it for anybody that's never played it. It came out on PS4, and from Daniel's review, it did go through development hell, and it was like you could tell it was a passion project, but it was also one of those that was like it just went through a lot of hiccups and stuff. And so when it finally did come out, it didn't come out in the most stable of performance. But now with the PS5, it like upgraded the frame rate, it locked it in, and the graphics look phenomenal. And so I do recommend it if anybody has a PS5 or a Pro. Definitely pick it up. Definitely try it. It's 100% worth it. I put it off for years, man. It's been out for I would say a decade, and or maybe not a decade, but it's been out for many years. And I finally picked it up, finally played it. Definitely enjoy it. I give it probably like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, to me, the out of the three, like you mentioned, they're not connected, but they are connected. They got kind of the same feel. And there's some theories that they are connected. But
Yeah.
in either case, Shadow of the Colossus to me is like the top one of the three. And The
Yeah.
Last Guardian is a close second, maybe a third, depending on how I feel. Just because Eco was such an awesome game too. But Last Guardian, yeah, man, there's some really sad moments. Not as sad as the horse from Shadow of the Colossus, but it was definitely up there, man, where I'm just like, dang, man, why they have to do that to that animal?
Yeah, man. It's funny. I don't know. I haven't played Ico yet, but it's funny how Shadow and Last Guardian have like this bond with an animal, and throughout the story, like, not that there's so much dialogue, but I guess even through the silence and just playing the game through with this character, you kind of like bond with it. And at the end of the story, like you kind of feel like a little bit sad, like they get to part ways.
Yeah, you have
It's
empathy for the animal for sure.
yeah. So it's definitely a good game. It's an impactful game for sure. But to kind of wrap up my week here, I'm not going to give too much details because it's still very early. But I did tell you guys I was thinking about building a PC, and there was a bunch of stuff
Hmm.
that's been coming out. And so, yeah, I got the parts. I went to my cousins and we put it together. I still have a lot of work to do with it, but yeah, just to get it, the way I like it, the appearance and all that stuff. But in terms of functionality, thank God, man, everything is working great. And I've been hearing news. Some people are having issues with some of the stuff that I got, but so far everything is working good. And knock on wood that everything continues to work good. And I'm excited for this new chapter with this new PC. It'll be like all the games that I had in the backlog that I wanted to play 4K that I couldn't at my old PC. Finally, I'll be able to test those out and try it out. So I'll give you guys a more detailed update next time. But that's pretty much it right there for now. Let's move this over to Daniel here. And going off of the video game stuff, it looks like you beat Assassin's Creed Mirage. Can you fill us in on how that was?
Yeah, this is Assassin's Creed Mirage, the new game that just came out this year, I want to say. Well, not this year, but just recently in 2024. It's based in the Middle East. It's a lot of Muslim kind of uh, stuff that's going on where you're playing as one of those characters, a Muslim character. You're going around and you're playing as the typical Assassin's Creed motif, where you're part of the Assassin's clan and you're trying to beat the the order or the Templars or whatever they're calling them here at this time. But yeah, you're going out there and you have assassination, a list. You got like 6 main characters that you have to assassinate, and you have to go kind of plot the best way to assassinate them. You have to go find their weaknesses, find ways to get into their temples, and just wait for the right spot to go and assassinate them with your blade. So this is kind of a return back to this origins, because the last 2 Assassin's Creeds that came out were a lot bigger world, open world. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and I forget what the other one is, Origins, I believe. Those are the ones where it was just like a big open world, do whatever you want whenever you want it. This is more back to the original, where it's more structured. You get your contract and you go out, you try to figure out the best way to kill this person. And yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. It was a lot shorter because I did play Valhalla, which was also an okay game. I kind of liked it a little bit. The only thing I didn't like about Valhalla is that it had one of those progression systems where as you got powerful, so did your enemies. So if you were level 12, your enemies were level 13. And as soon as you upgraded to level 18, your enemies were 19. So it kind of sucked. You didn't feel that like I'm getting stronger. I'm doing these missions to upgrade my weapons to get better. And you never felt like a god in the game where you're like overpowered because you took the time to do all the side missions, you got all the collectibles, and now you're a badass in this world. And Valhalla didn't have that. Where Mirage, since it's kind of the older formula, it's kind of back to that where, yeah, you start off kind of weak at first, really struggle to beat enemies. You have to be really stealthy. You have to kind of run away a lot. And then as you progress through the game, you become more of a badass where you don't even have to stay hidden. You just come out and you just start slicing and dicing people, assassinating left and right. So I definitely like that part. It was a shorter game. Most average it to about 15 to 20 hours to beat it. And where that Valhalla, man, that was close to like almost 100 hours to beat that game. But yeah, I kind of dug it. I don't think it did very well critically. From some of the ratings, it didn't do too bad. You know, it got 6, 7s, 8s. Nothing kind of crazy. No 10s out of 10s. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm not sure if this is on your radar, Noel. I played it for a minute on PlayStation 4, then I migrated over to PlayStation 5, and it was good. I say it's not the strongest of the Assassin's Creed, but I do like the return back to its origins.
Yeah, I've only ever beaten the first one, and that was very, very recent. I think I gave my review on that like not too long ago. Um, I like the first one, and I wanted to continue that series. And I know they have just so many, and that's kind of what's like kept me from playing anymore. Because I'm like, man, it's gonna take me like a decade to beat all these games, just Assassin's Creed, the franchise. So I do eventually want to play Mirage. I mean, it looks like it's pretty good, so maybe that'll be the next one I try. Or once I finish, what is it called, the Enzo trilogy or something?
Right. Yeah. Now that one, that's probably the best of the Assassin's Creed, and it is to the older style. The Enzio trilogy or quadrilogy, 4 games. I forgot how many games are in that saga,
Mhm.
but that is probably like the best of the Assassin's Creed. But this is probably next up there, just because I don't really like that open world Assassin's Creed flavor that Valhalla and Origins did. But not the super best, but definitely a nice return. Um, Something else that I watched was or did is I watched Scream. I actually just watched it yesterday, and man, I forgot that this movie isn't that great. I don't know if people really dig this movie. I mean, they got like 8 movies on this thing, so I'm not sure if it's like it's just me because obviously somebody's liking it. And I'm on their wiki right now, and it looks like it cost about 14 million to make, and it made 173 in the box office. So it definitely made a ton of money. Um, it's a new movie for Wes Craven. He's the director behind this, and he's the one that was behind Nightmare on Elm Street. So this was definitely a different kind of horror movie for him. But I don't know, watching it now again, because I've seen it like once or twice before, but watching it now with a little bit more of a critical eye, man, there's some sloppy director stuff. Some of the scenes look kind of sloppy, flash screens kind of quick, and I saw like some plot holes where I'm like, ah, man, this is kind of bad. I don't know if I really like it. And then after the movie was over, I turned to Alana, and she's just like, yeah, that wasn't one of the best movies I've seen in a while. So I know you're a horror guy, Noel. I'm not sure how you feel about this movie. Is this high up there on your scale?
No, no, it honestly isn't. To me, Scream was more a parody. I mean, it was a horror movie, but it was more like a slasher parody of all other slashers that came before it.
Right.
And I mean, they even make jokes at the start of the movie about, you know, like a trivia thing. So it was like a movie trivia for horror movies. So it was kind of cool. I don't look at it like a serious movie. I take it for what it is. It's kind of just a campy, like nonsensical, just over the top kind of movie.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't think it's anything great. I feel bad because I do like Wes Craven. He seems like a good director, but this movie just didn't catch it for me. And I think I watched maybe like 1 or 2 other Screams, but I haven't definitely watched almost nearly any of them. So did not catch my eye, and I didn't really dig it. Was this a movie you watched, Andy? Do you remember?
Yeah, I watched it at the theater. And it was
Oh, really? Wow.
we got to remember it's a '90s movie, and it Wes Craven was attached, and it was written by that guy that did all those CW shows in the '90s. Williamson, Kevin something,
Yeah, Kevin
right?
Williamson.
So yeah, and I mean, for the '90s, you gotta look back, and I don't think there was too many like horror movies, and that were released theatrically, and I think that's why I did so much. And I remember I had a lot of like cameos, like people like big movie stars like died. Like I think the initial like first 10 minutes wasn't like Drew Barrymore in it, and then they kill her, and then there was other stuff going on, and like yeah, from '90s it was a big hit. I remember the Scary Movie franchise parodied it, and they made fun of it. But yeah, they cranked them out, and I mean after I think the third one, I'm like I'm not watching this shit anymore. But the first one, the original one, I remember it. I mean, I haven't seen it maybe in 15 years. It's not on cable or like Pluto or anything. I haven't seen it, but I do recall being decent. I mean, for what it was, because I think it was. I know you guys are saying it was. Noel said it's a parody, but for the time, I think they went to there wasn't a lot of horror movies in the '90s that I recall. Then after that, it was just like it was all these direct to DVD, VHS and DVDs, like the early 2000s, just fucking all these gory movies coming out, like the Final Destinations and all that crap. You remember all that? Like they're just cranking out all this stuff. I think it was after Scream, and so again, I haven't seen it in forever, but. What I recall, the first one I saw it in the theater. I thought it was decent, but again, it's been forever since I watched Scream.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sure if you rewatched it now, you might see it in a different eye. And I don't remember not liking it as much as I did yesterday. Yeah, it looks like Wes Craven directed the first four of them.
Wow, the first four? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then Kevin Williamson, he was the screenwriter for 2 of those 4. And it looks like Kevin Williamson's the one that was director on this last one that just came out, or that is coming out. That's coming out.
The one from Friday from Addams Family chick, right? That one?
Well, the Kevin Williamson, the one that was the writer, he's set to direct this last one, Scream 7, that's scheduled to release next year. It looks like so.
Okay.
So yeah, he's scheduled to be the take directing helms on it. But yeah, I don't know. I probably agree with you. It was probably something good back then, and compared to some of the other Final Destinations and kind of the stuff that was coming out around the time. Maybe it held up its own, but now watching it in retrospect, there's so many better scary movies out there that I would watch on top of this Scream. But in either case, it was something that maybe was good back in the day, but not anymore. Something else that I watched that actually came out in 2002, and it stars Robin Williams, was 1 Hour Photo. Now, this one I have never seen before until I just recently watched it. And I got to say, man, it was pretty cool, man. It wasn't a great movie. I think there was some like quick wrap up at the end where I kind of expected a little bit more of the movie. But still, just the lead up to the ending, the whole drama going up to the ending was really cool. Robin Williams was definitely doing a different character that he typically doesn't do in movies. He wasn't being a jokester. He wasn't some funny guy. He was being a serious actor. And to me, it was really, really cool to see him in a different light. And especially this, where it's kind of a horror thriller kind of movie. And yeah, man, I don't want to give too much away because I think that's the fun of it, is watching him in this world and being the actor that he played. He got nominated for a lot of best actors for this movie, but he didn't win any of them. But still, I think he was pretty good in it, man. And I really dug him just being a different character other than a funny guy. Noel, you being the horror guy, do you remember? Did you watch this, or have you seen this?
I vaguely remember watching it, but when I did, it was so many years ago. I had to have been like 20 or under. And yeah, I don't remember much about it, but I do recall that part, like that Robin Williams was definitely more of a serious actor in that one, and like very creepy too. Like he played it very well, man. I actually would have been interesting to see him as like Joker or something, because he could have done it like a good balance of funny yet scary.
Yeah, for sure. Was this something you watched, Andy?
I don't even know this movie, so I mean, I know Robin Williams did play a lot of serious movie, but horror, that's a new one to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, this is definitely something that is not going to be everybody's cup of tea. But the basic gist is he works at a big store, kind of like a Walmart, and he works on the photo booth. And this is back in the day. Most kids probably won't understand it nowadays anymore, but this is back before smartphones and before taking photos everywhere. It's when you used to take disposable cameras or professional cameras and take pictures and take them in to get developed so you can see them. And that's become kind of a lost art nowadays. But really creepy, the character that he plays, he kind of gets obsessed with the process of developing photos as well as obsessed with the content of the photos. And yeah, it kind of goes from there. Not a great movie, but definitely something different from Robin Williams. So if you're a fan of Robin Williams, definitely go check it out. But yeah, man, that's about all the time for me. Andy, let's jump over to you. Fill us in on what's going on in the world nowadays. U.S. aid. What is the latest scandal that's going on, man?
I mean, if you guys, with Trump's been in office, I don't even think a month, and they got DOGE with Elon Musk and some guy named Big Balls going through these departments, and the first one they went into is the USA Aid or US Aid, and they uncovered like all this money what they're spending on, and it wreaked havoc, and like people are upset. The Democrats are upset, and they're getting all worked up, and like I really don't know what their budget is for that department. Like nobody really knew of it. Um, so there's people I haven't read stuff that they haven't verified. They think they have a budget that of 50 billion or a billion of 50 billion budget, and what they have covered on wasteful spending, they think it's about a billion. So there's a lot of money out there that they found that they were sent to these companies or countries that need it. Like just a quick list: 1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia. 70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland. 2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam. 32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. 2 million for sex changes in Guatemala. 6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. What else they got? A3 7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid binary gender language. 6.3 million to study men having sex with other men in South Africa. 20 million for producing the Iraqi version of Sesame Street. 520 million for ESG, which is considered environmental, social, and governance consultants in Africa. 45 million for DEI scholarships in Burma. 2 million for Moroccan pottery classes, and it goes on. 200 millions to fund irrigation for the Taliban's poppy fields. Like, this is ridiculous. All this money, and my thing is, if you read the news, they're getting upset. I don't know if they're upset about the money they're spending, or they're upset that this DOGE department and like Elon Musk is heading it. They're pissed off about that. And I mean, to me, like, we had two major natural disasters here in this country in California with the fires. I don't know if that's it. I don't know if it was man-made yet or arson. They're thinking maybe arson, but the things in the Carolinas that the hurricane, and it's just a mess, and they're always coming up with there's no money and stuff like that, and then they're spending all this money on foreign stuff and DEI stuff, comic books, and all this shit. So I don't know. It seems kind of preposterous. And then also with the Hawaiian fire too, they were offering like very low money to help them rebuild, and I don't know. It's kind of frustrating to see the amount of money that they're spending on other countries that could be used here, I guess. I don't know how much of it you guys watched or the news media's reaction. Have you guys knew about it, or know about the money they're spending, or any thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. To me, I didn't even know what it stood for. I just Googled it right now. So it's a United States Agency of International Development. I always thought U.S. aid was to help like North Carolina and California with the stuff that they're dealing with. I had no idea that this was like an international thing. But yeah, it looks like it's like you mentioned, there's a lot of money budgeted for some really dumb stuff. I'm all for foreign aid to help other people. I was just Googling what came up as one of my searches. What is the purpose of U.S. aid? And U.S. aid is an international government agency and the principle of U.S. organized responsibility for administrating tens of billions of dollars for humanitarian aid overseas every year. So I'm all for helping people. So for sure, I think this agency should exist to help, but maybe not to the extent of North Carolina people can't get their houses rebuilt and where they're not getting the aid they're supposed to get because there's no more money. So definitely, I think things at home need to be taken care of before we go and take care of the rest of the world. It's kind of like when you're in an airplane and that thing pops out of the ceiling to get oxygen. You're supposed to put your mask on first before you put on your neighbor's mask, because if you pass out, you can't do anybody any good. So let's put on our mask first so we can help each other here, and then we can start helping everybody around us.
I 100% agree. I think we have to start here first and fix. There's so many things that need fixing here before we can help other countries. And yeah, as a human being and a believer in God, I would like to help other people, but like you said, if we aren't in a stable position ourselves, then how can we help others effectively? So yeah, it's crazy how much money's been sent out, and that's just like the tip of the iceberg. I think if you dig deeper, it's crazier.
Imagine when they start going to other agencies, it's gonna be crazy. I think some other stuff trickled out from this is they were giving money to allegedly to certain left-wing websites like news sites, and a lot of the departments or agencies had subscriptions, like this news subscription to that. It was particularly one company. I'm not going to name it because I don't know how accurate it is, but it's being reported. Supposedly they had 3 agencies already. They went line by line that they were paid over one of them paid 800,000 in subscriptions, and this other agency within the federal government paid 500,000. And you start to think like, what the hell's going on? Like, who pays $800,000 for subscriptions? It's just crazy. And my wife, I was explaining this to my wife, and she's like, well, how come they don't got money for education? They always tell us people are having bake sales and they're giving away money to all this other stuff. I'm like, it's a valid point. I mean, because they got money for all this stuff, and here at home, like just education. Education is important, but they're always struggling for money, or they do get money. Sometimes it gets misappropriated, but it's another discussion. But to me, when I was telling her, this is all just a way to, trying to use the right words here, to people to get money. They have a cause, and it's just a way to grease other people in other countries the alphabet agencies to say, we gave you this money, we need this, and they don't call it what it is, and they just say, we're going to give you money to make this type of training, or you're going to make this comic book, or we're going to train you how to be more tolerant, and like 20 million bucks. How much of that money is actually for that program and it's going for something else? Right. So I think that's what's going on here. It's a way to legally bribe people, I guess.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I think some of this auditing is good just to bring to light, to make wiser decisions. When it was getting kind of tight a few years ago here at the Corral household, the first thing you do is you look at all your everything that your expenditures, and you look at the money that's coming in, and you have to balance your books. You have to kind of, all right, when we were living fat at the Hog, yeah, it was nice to have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and HBO Max and all this other stuff. But yeah, when things get tight, guess what? You can't do all these things. You have to trim back, and you maybe have to get rid of all of it, or maybe just keep one or two, or narrow down your budget. So it's just the way things are. If they don't have money to help people in California, North Carolina, Hawaii, stuff like that, when disasters happen, then we don't have money to give to other people in the amounts that we're giving them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big issue with the current federal or the government. Is just too bloated. It's too big. People have years from Congress have been asking, like, let's have a clear audit to see where all this money going, not just like a budget, like we need this much, and then they have this appropriations hearings and all this, but they want to see exactly where the money's going. And I think that's why people are upset, or the news media with Elon, because he did get inside where they extend the money, and that's when all this stuff started popping up. Like, some people are getting money and they don't know why, and then these accounts ain't matching up or something. So that's the whole big thing. But no matter how you feel, you got to admit, this is messed up. It's not right. And this is taxpayer money, and the American people should know where your money goes to, especially when, as we're doing our taxes and we get these, I'm hearing a lot of people complain as they do their taxes this year, they're getting less money than the year before. I think that's when really people get upset, is when tax season and their return is less than previous years, or people pay. That's when you really see people get pissed off, and on top of the inflation and all that other stuff. So this is your money at work here. And when you start seeing, I think Trump made a comment, President Trump, that I think he tweeted or something about that he can't believe how much money this news organization got from the federal government. It just goes to show you there is, the conspiracy theory is the alphabet agencies always not bribed or whatever, allegedly took care of certain newspaper people, news stations to get favorable news reporting, or target people that they don't like. Again, it's a lot of money. People get upset, and I don't blame them, especially when you start seeing line by line where the money is going, and people get upset. And I think the other thing that doesn't help, it's Trump's in there, and I think that's why they're upset. I think if Biden would have done this, or some other president, people there would have been like, "Oh, he's showing great transparency. Like, look at this." But they won't, because it's Trump, and they're upset with the other things that's going on, with the deportations, and especially the deportations. There's a lot of people taking that personally, and as they should. But I think he thought this would do something, and it's just like nothing. Like always, they're hating on him, on all this wasteful spending, and they're not asking why. They're asking, why is he doing this, and why does he have Elon Musk doing it?
Well, don't get me wrong. I think people should be critical It shouldn't just be cut everything, because we do need to help wherever we can. But I think even if Trump cured cancer, I think they would see it as a negative. But
You
we
would
should
say
still
he killed an industry or something.
right. But we should still be critical and look at everything the government's doing, regardless of does it seem right. We should always investigate and make sure that it does seem right or it makes sense.
Well, that's the thing. It's the investigations. I think people just generally question everything. So, with especially the pardoning that the previous president did, uh, they're kind of upset. Like, what's going on with this? But to me personally, I think it's just because it's who's the president, and that's the big issue. And like the other thing that's brewing, and it's kind of people are taking, is COVID gets farther away. We get another year in our belt away from that the whole thing. Uh, Companies want people to go back to work, and they don't want to go back to work, and companies are pushing back. They're like starting to mandate, and one of those companies is the federal government. Um, a lot of them had it good for a long time, but looks like that's going to stop. And a lot of them, I think Trump signed something that you got to come back or take a buyout, but you're getting like, I was reading like 8 months severance. Like, holy shit. Like, if you don't come back by a certain date or take the buyout, I was reading, it was like 20,000 plus people took the buyout, and they did some study. They believe a lot of those people who worked from home, and I got my quotes up, had second jobs, and they were going to work over there. And from my understanding, I don't recall where I saw this or heard this. When you work for the federal government, you cannot have a second job. Don't quote me on that, but I thought I read that somewhere there on the internet this past month. So it's like it's a big no-no, and I think so. That's why a lot of people took that buyout.
Don't worry, Andy. I won't quote you.
But yeah, that's the other big thing that's coming up, and it's getting harder, man. Like, I see he has a hard job in front of him. The deportations, that's a big thing, and but the other thing, he's trying to balance the budget. That's one of his big things that he's pushing, and it's gonna be rough. He got a lot of big fucking hurdles in front of him, and it's gonna go to see what we can do with him. But I'll keep my eyes and ears open to see what's going on with that. That being said, let's go to somebody else who's been a figure in another industry that's always had some type of scandal and issues. That's going to take us to our article of the week. So I got this article, which I found rather interesting, because this guy was, when I collected comics, he's always been ridiculed with scandal or issues in the comic industry. Rob Liefeld. I don't know if you remember him, Danny or Noel. Did you heard of him? I'm pretty sure you guys heard of him, right?
To be honest, before this article, I don't really think I knew the name. I mean, obviously, I knew somebody created Deadpool. I just don't think I ever knew that it was that person.
Okay.
Yeah, man. To me, I knew of him for years when I was collecting comics. He helped develop Image, the comic company. And yeah, he's really known for not drawing people's feet, or he didn't like drawing people's feet, I should say better. So that was always a joke about him, because he didn't like drawing them. But yeah, this guy drew a bunch of characters. He had a really unique art style and a really good creator. So yeah, I was kind of sad to hear about, or at least his perspective on this. But yeah, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's Rob Liefeld. I mean, when I think of comics, 90s, I think of Rob. He worked for Marvel, then he left to do his own print and Image, and he ran his course there. He created controversy. He left Image and started his own company, Awesome Comics or something to that effect. And then he fucked that up, or allegedly, and then he went back to work for Marvel. with the Heroes Reborn return subject, which I fucking loved. And then like halfway through the thing, he like left because there was issue with deadlines and Marvel and him couldn't get along. And he left, and like always, he's always like worked with the. I heard he was making TV shows and stuff like that, but there, Rob Liefeld, the writer describes the several perceived slights as being denied access to the after party, and makes head turning claim that Kevin Feige does not treat comic book creators well. He's the one that he co-created Deadpool. He has a podcast called Robservations, and at the premiere, he goes on to say Liefeld learned that him and his family were not invited to the after party, something that he was accustomed to attend, and he also felt snubbed by Disney brass, including Marvel studio boss Kevin Feige, whom he was near him on the red carpet, but they did not acknowledge him. He goes, it was meant to embarrass, diminish, defeat me, on his podcast. And there was another apparent slight. Liefeld said he posed for professional photos with creators of Deadpool and Wolverine team, but later was told by his publicist that those photos were deleted. He believes they were only taken as a courtesy, not intended to be used through other photos featuring Liefeld as well as family appeared a part of Disney's Getty's press portal from the event. Soon after the premiere, he decided to cut ties with Marvel, which he believed no longer wanted him at some point. Were no longer wanted him around. At some point, you go. I received that message, and the message was clear, he said. All this started, he claims, because he tried to get a credit in the beginning that said that, Deadpool was created by him and somebody else. And they told him, no, we're not going to do that. He wanted something like Superman in the beginning, created by Jerry Schuster and the other guy. And he wanted something to that effect for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, which is, of all the latest Marvel movies, I think it's been the most successful one because they're having issues. And they basically told him, we're not going to do that. And they told him, this is not Fox, like, you can't bully us around. And from there on, he's made a lot of comments. He goes, Marvel's treatment of its creators has never been their strength. Without the worlds of characters, of the concepts that we create, in a specific case, the world of Deadpool, there's no films to shoot, no blockbusters to distribute. I'm not an easy button at Staples. I'm a human imagination behind it all. And he goes, we cannot be, comic book creators cannot continue to be regulated as afterthoughts. This is easy to address. Unless I reach out to address it, it will never manifest. My reps were screamed at today. We are not Fox. Tell me about it. Also, and then they hung up on them. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. Someone like, Marvel movies haven't been as successful, even with the actors and everything after phase one. And the only thing that was successful was Deadpool, and they barely greenlit that movie. And I was reading that Disney didn't want to greenlight it, and the guy that greenlit it was the previous CEO, which got fired, and that's the only reason they did it. And Kevin Feige wasn't really in on that decision, and that's why there's stuff I saw other videos saying that's why he wasn't really happy with that movie. But again, it goes down to how people are treated. Rob Liefeld, I mean, he is I think I consider him a comic book legend. He's an artist. He did have different style, but to me, I mean, if you created a character that makes billions of dollars and you ask for that, as they've done for other people, I think they've done it for Batman created by Bob Kane. To me, it was a pretty simple request. I don't know why they decided not to do that, or not that he did. I think they did put his name in there, but at the end. But what do you guys just thought on that? I mean, do you feel like he was slighted by Marvel after reading the article, or you think he's just blowing everything out of proportion, which I think he does have a tendency to do?
Yeah, when I read the article, I thought, well, I could see both sides, right? And uh, it's tough to say what somebody deserves, because yeah, you did make the character and everything, but that doesn't always mean that you're gonna get the spotlight on you at all times. And so I think they did him dirty, but I also think you can't expect too much from Marvel, and you can't expect too much from Disney, especially in this current era. And it looks like he did ruffle some feathers, and people probably didn't like he wanted more. Just like when I don't know if you remember Dwayne Johnson made Black Adam,
Hmm.
and he was asking for all this sorts of stuff, money and like just insane requests. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that, but essentially that's why there was never a Black Adam 2. That's why they just kind of like axed the whole thing. And so yeah, I could see how, if you ruffle some feathers and the people aren't liking it, yeah, you're just going to get done dirty, and that's what they did.
Yeah, to me, being a creator, I kind of know this guy from the comic industry, and I know that he could be a pain in the ass. I mean, there's a reason why he's jumped around so much. So my feeling is this guy's really eccentric or really demanding, and Marvel was just like, whatever, dude. We're gonna put you as a credit at the end. If you don't like it, then tough luck. And my guess is he got his feelings hurt. Most people just get credited at the end of the movie. It just says it somewhere there in a blurb, created by. I distinctly remember seeing that in other movies, and then maybe sometimes at the start of the movie, but I'm not sure how much special credit that he was looking for. But he is definitely influential, especially with Deadpool and kind of helping Marvel, the universe kind of rebound. Because I gotta admit, before the Deadpool Wolverine movie, those Marvel movies that were coming out recently kind of sucked. There was really
Hmm.
nothing that was really good. So they do owe Deadpool a gratitude because he kind of did rebound it. And now there's some kind of excitement for this new Captain America that's coming out soon.
I
And
think
then
that
the
died.
and then the Fantastic Four movie, the trailer, I saw a lot of buzz for that. So I kind of feel like maybe they got a second wind going, and it's definitely due to Deadpool. So maybe you owed him a little bit more kudos, but regardless, they did credit him. I think he's just being a little difficult.
Going real quick to Captain America, the new one. I think the actor that took the shield, forgive me, I don't remember his name. He made some comments about America, and I think that's gonna hurt the movie. Um, but I'll give Liefeld credit on this. I think if more people read the credits in the beginning of the movie, towards the end of the movie, they don't. So he wanted that Superman treatment. And I think he knows how successful Deadpool is, and I think that's why he wanted that. And he does work in Hollywood. He's developed shows and made movies, so I think he's trying to boost that. Like I created Deadpool, trying to get some of that Deadpool issues. And again, the other thing, Kevin Feige, he didn't greenlight this movie, and this is really this Deadpool and Wolverine movie was his Ryan, the guy that did Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. This is his prep project. He's been wanting this forever, and once he got Wolverine, Jack, whatever his name, I can't
Hugh
think of his name,
Jackman.
Hugh Jackman. I think he got a lot of creative control, and Kevin Feige didn't have the control that he normally did on this movie. And I think a lot of the success that Deadpool got is going to Ryan Reynolds and not him. So I think that's where this all kind of stems. There's a lot of stuff in the background, but I think Rob Liefeld's ask, he could ask, but he didn't get it. But I think the treatment he got, what he's describing, I think it is a slight. Um, but like he said, oh, Kevin Feige acted like I don't know who the hell it was. Maybe he didn't, maybe he did, but I think he knew who he was, and he was just like whatever. Like I fuck this guy. I don't want to deal with him because he is. I'll give you that. Then he's a pain in the ass, and everywhere he's gone, there's always been controversy. And other creators have complained about him, and because he does have issues. I think he has some social issues, but hey, man, when you're a genius, I guess you have some anxiety. But yeah, I mean, I think credit should have been given to him because Deadpool is very successful.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until you said it. I guess at the start of the movie, everybody's watching that, and at the end of the movie, maybe some people are filing out, and it's usually on the end credits. It's not at the very start. It's usually at the end, right before the Marvel logo. Deadpool was created by, or Captain America was created by. So, yeah, I could see that point where maybe he wanted both, just so that people can see his name. And you're right. A lot of people put this on their IMDb page and stuff like that, and it helps them get more jobs to be credited in, the making of a movie, TV show, video game, or whatever the case would be. So, yeah, I could kind of see that too. But yeah, I think he just has a reputation of being a tough guy to work with, that maybe he's got a stink and people are just like, yeah, I'm not bending over for this guy. He's going to take the way it is and he's going to like it, kind of thing. So I don't know. I kind of feel for the guy because he should get kudos, just because Deadpool is an awesome character. But I mean, what can you do? But guys, that's all the time we have for today. Here at Freeform Network, we'd like to thank you for listening. Remember to go onto Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Hit that like and subscribe button anywhere that you go to download this podcast. We really appreciate it. Also go to FFN Questions and send us those emails. Let us know what you're thinking of. Let us know how these budget cuts are going in the government. Let us know how Deadpool, if it's one of your favorite characters, shoot us a comment. We really appreciate it. But for Freeform Radio, we got Noel.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Have a good one.
And we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy. And thank you for listening. We'll catch you guys next time.
And yes, everybody out there. Oh, I better stop, man. I don't want to get a copy strike by the NFL and Fox. But we'd like to thank you all for listening. Super Bowl results next recording. We'll see who's right, man. Thank you again.
That was cool, Dad.